Hi, everyone. I'm Chris from National Parents Organization, and today I have Elizabeth and Mike McNeese here, and they're here to talk about their new film, We the People, which is going to debut in Columbus, Ohio on November 5th. Mike and Elizabeth, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, thanks for having us.
And so, Mike and Elizabeth, tell me a little bit. We the Parents, it's a film about parents and their troubles with the court systems, and more specifically about parents that have maybe not had the best experience with the court system. So, tell us a little bit about how did the film come along, and how did you get interested in producing the film?
Yeah. So We the Parents it's a documentary film, and we hear from parents in their real experiences of going through family court. We got into it because we actually own a production company. So telling stories through film is what we do. And it was a natural choice for us to pursue this because we're both very passionate also about family court reform and about the well-being of children. We have a lot of children ourselves. We're a blended family. We both went through divorces. We've both seen both sides of the system. His experience was very different than mine. But one thing that was obvious to both of us was that the system is a mess, and it's really destroying families. And so we felt it was really important to tell the stories of parents who've gone through it.
Yeah, and I mean, we talk to people all the time about their experience with the family court system. I'm glad that you've had really a chance to chronicle it and really show the pain that people are suffering, through this system. How long did it take you to make the film?
Oh, geez, I think we started in May of 2020, just because we were on a work trip and we were in Texas, and we have a lot of good buddies in Texas there who are pretty vocal about their experience in family court. So while we were there, we were able to kind of get the wheels turning in May of 2020, and we haven't stopped since then. And we finally got to a point where we had so much good footage, good interviews, and good content that we decided we need to wrap this up now and just stop collecting. So that's what we're doing now, and we're happy to be releasing the film here in just a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's coming out quick. And while you were filming this, were there any big surprises for you? I mean, we've all of us, sort of in this movement here, I think have had pretty bad experiences with family court in one way or another. But so going in and filming this, I'm sure there was some sort of expectation of the stories that you were going to hear. But were there any that, without maybe giving too much away, was there any that really surprised you?
Well, she mentions this all the time, is that, and maybe it's a perspective of mine, is coming at it from an angry parent or an angry dad perspective, and that's not the case of what we've been documenting with the film that we're about to release. We've come across a lot of very pensive people who are just very smart, and they're just victims of a system that has taken their children away from them. So that's a huge takeaway. And then we also get to talk to some experts that a lot of people have heard of in the shared parenting community, and they reinforce what we parents already know, is that kids need both of their parents, and they need both of them equally.
Yeah, so one of the things that always surprises me about talking about people with their experiences in family court is the one thing court doesn't seem to do is it doesn't seem to discriminate too much against any one group. It seems like everybody has a fairly terrible experience with it. And when you were filming this, was that evident, or and did you talk about solutions to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a big misconception that only fathers are victims of family court. And really, we're seeing a systemic problem that affects mothers and fathers. There's a lot of old stereotypes that are not helping women, and in ways that I don't want to give too much away, but ways that we don't really think about. And the system was not designed to help parents move forward. It was not designed to help children cope and to help children have a healthy, happy future. The system was really designed as its court. They're just there to divvy up property, and children are treated as property. And it's very unfortunate, but the result of that is we're seeing children being ripped from healthy, loving, fit parents, not because that parent has done anything wrong, or not because the child shouldn't be with that parent, but simply because our laws require the court to pick a custodial parent. And so you have parents that are completely pitted against each other because they love their kids and they don't want to lose their kids. So you have no choice but to fight. And so it's a systemic problem, and it affects everyone. And I think maybe 20 and 30 years ago, it was primarily fathers. Today, mothers are too. I still primarily fathers, but mothers too are victims of this system. And we really have to think about that when we're talking about these issues, because I think the reason it's persisted so long is because we've constantly had this dads versus mom battle going. And as long as we're fighting each other, then the people who are really running the show are going to keep abusing our kids.
Yeah, one of the things that really irritates me is, I have joint custody of my children, and, in the paperwork for child support, they only have two terms: custodial parent and non-custodial parent. And that's the federal level paperwork that doesn't recognize, that, hey, there's a different way to do things. So, with the experts that you talked to, did they recognize that's a systemic problem within the system?
Yeah, one of the experts that we speak to is a father, but he's also an attorney. And he's an attorney who believed in the system until he went through it himself.
Oh, wow.
He speaks as a dad who worked in the system and then was still unable to fight against the system because ultimately the laws determine how the courts behave. And so he's a loving dad, but he does not get much time with his child at all. It's a horrific situation, but he's not special in that. That's just very common. So we talked to him as an expert because he is an attorney. So he's represented mothers and fathers in these cases, and he's been able to see and provide like expert testimony for what is really, really, truly happening in these cases.
Yeah. So, and if attorney doesn't have, a prayer and getting an honest outcome from the system, what are the rest of us really don't have a chance, do we?
That's right. Yeah, and like she said, it's just because that's the way the law is. Especially in Ohio, the law is one parent has to walk out, the custodial parent and the residential parent, and the other one is basically just put on the sideline. So that's the big story in the documentary that we're making, is that children are the ones that are losing on this because they're the ones that are losing a parent. So that's why we wanted to do this, because we've seen the pain not only in the parents that speak in the film, but also in our own experience with children, and seeing children be the victims ultimately of family court, because parents need rights in order to parent children.
Absolutely. So, who is the audience really for this film? We the Parents, again, is going to debut in Columbus, Ohio on November 5th. Who do you really want to be able to see this film?
So we wanted to structure a film that could speak to anyone who has been through family court. They'll recognize themselves in some of these cases. But if you've not been through it, you're going to have an eye-opening experience about what really goes on and what maybe you think, or maybe how you think things are versus how they really are. But we also wanted to make sure that legislators can hear what is happening and be motivated to do something. So this is a very broad-reaching film. It's not a film for parents who have been through family court. This is a film for everyone. This is a film to bring everyone up to speed, let everyone understand what's really happening, and give some very practical suggestions on how we as a culture can move forward.
That's amazing. And so does the film get into, things that should be changing? Because, across the country here, we've had a few states pass shared parenting laws, and I certainly think that will help. But are there other out of the box recommendations?
Well, we have parents who know what the answers are, and that's just, simply law changes. But, as some of those laws are changing in some states, they're not changing as fast in other places. So, that's why we're really trying to give heart to some of these stories and show the faces behind these voices that we hear. Everybody has heard of a family court horror story, but this is really happening. These are the real people that are being affected by it. And, obviously children are the biggest victims of it. But yeah, the ultimate answer is, the laws have to change. anybody who's been through family court knows that that is what has to happen. So, and in Ohio, we have a bill that's kind of being stalled right now, but we're hoping that this kind of gives a little bit of oomph behind that and it tries to chug that along a little bit as well.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And how can people watch the movie? How can people see the film?
So we have a tiered approach. So for the rest of this, we're going to premiere it November 5th. It's going to be a live in-theater premiere, like the whole red carpet thing. And we wanted an opportunity for all the cast and crew to come and to watch the film in a theater and have that experience. Once that happens on November 5th, then we are going to open it up, and we are encouraging people to screen this film in your communities. We're not asking for money. We're not asking you to pay us to screen the film. We want to help you facilitate a screening in your area, whether that's at a local theater, whether that's in your home. You want to host people over to your house and watch the film, whatever it takes, because ultimately we just want people to see it. That is our biggest goal, is as many people to see this as possible, so that we can collectively as a culture start shifting and start moving towards a common goal. And then in January, we will have a worldwide premiere online. Anyone can watch it at any point online.
Well, that's pretty awesome. And the people in the film that talk about their experiences, are they just concentrated to Ohio, or are they from other parts of the country as well?
We've traveled the country quite a bit to collect some of the voices that you'll hear and see in the film. We've been to California, Texas, New York. I'm sure I'm forgetting some places as well.
Missouri.
Missouri, yeah, we've been far and wide, and we've been lucky to have our work travel us to those places. And while we're there, we're always searching out for some of our allies in the shared parenting community to say, hey, while we're there, can we grab you? We know you're a valuable voice, and we've been super fortunate to have such helpful and friendly people in the shared parenting community be willing to open up. There's tears that are shed in the movie, and that's it was hard to sit there behind the camera and watch that happen. And I know it's going to be uncomfortable for people to see, but that's the real heart of the matter, and that's the actual experience that you're left with after going through a family court situation.
Yeah, it's very, very real and very emotional at the same time. So, how can people screen this film? Do they get in touch with you? Is there a certain place that they can reach you at? Is there a Facebook page, anything like that?
Yeah, so any general inquiries, you can email us at wetheparentsmovie@gmail.com. We do have a Google form people can fill out to help us facilitate those screenings, and you can find a link to that form if you want to request to host a screening on our Facebook page. So handle We the Parents Movie.
Well, awesome, and we will put all that information in the notes here of the YouTube video and wherever we post this online. So that information will be handy. Is there anything else that you want to tell the folks at home? And we're going to wrap this up by showing the trailer for the movie.
No, we're happy to show the trailer. So yeah, let's roll it.
All right, let's roll it.
I just wasn't going to allow my kids to grow up without their father.
And having absolutely no relationship with him, it hurts. It really does.
I'm a business owner. I'm an elected official. But the courts didn't think I was good enough to raise my kids.
There could be no system that would be designed to hurt the family more than the family court system in its present form.
They're not protecting the kids because they are cutting one parent out of the life of a child just because two adults can't get along.
What do people do when their children are taken away? And she said they pay their child support and shut up, and walked away. And I thought that was the most accurate encapsulation of my experience in family court.
I've been through 43 false allegations, not one conviction, not one arrest.
Lawyers, judges have financial gain. Social workers and people that are in the community, our jobs really is to clean up after the mess that happens from courtrooms.
Well, Mike and Elizabeth, thank you so much for coming on today. I can't wait for people to see this film. It's going to be so valuable, and I hope some legislators see this because they really are the ones that have the power to make the change. And what's next for you guys? Are you have any other films in the works?
Wow, we haven't even thought that far yet, but I think we'll probably focus back on the bill here in Ohio after this and try to chug that along. They're back in session here in Columbus for the fall, so that's the part of our effort is getting this movie out and trying to really get some pressure on these legislators here.
Well, yeah, hopefully you can put some pressure on them, let them know that Missouri just passed their law and ask them what's taking so long for them to get up with the times here. So
Exactly.
Thank you so much for coming on, and we encourage everybody to watch the movie. Again, if you want to premiere this in your hometown, just get with them. There's the contact information is going to be below, and we look forward to everybody seeing this and giving you some feedback on it.
Awesome. Thanks for having us, Chris. We appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for coming on.